1, 2, 3, action. I'm so excited for this conversation with you, and just to be connected with you.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things to your experience. So do you prefer all-around entertainer, drummer, performer? What is your title that you prefer?
I mean, I think I'm kind of between the entertainer and performer, just tapping into all my gifts and making it happen, you know?
I love that. Tying everything to your purpose, right?
Exactly. Very important. Very important.
Oh, so important. I'd love to just hear what the moments right after Berklee were like for you. I think for me, I always like to start there with our alumni because everybody's experiences are so unique. So can you give us a little insight into what was the mindset of Patty Ann Miller circa 2010, like fresh out?
I mean, immediately I moved to LA to complete my program, the internship program at Sony, which was really, really cool. So I'll have to say, the first 3 years, I was trying to do everything, like literally everything, the dancing, the drumming, the acting. But it came to a point where I realized I had to focus. I needed to focus on one thing. And that's exactly what I did. And obviously focusing on that one thing led me to the doors opening, the Ceelo Green and so forth.
Yeah. Did it feel like it was just a little bit too unmanageable having all of these plates in the air?
Well, I feel like, you have to give something 100% first. You know what I mean? So I chose that one thing that was pretty obvious, the drumming. The drumming was that thing, like you need to follow that. And I knew that once I followed that, it was going to lead me down the right path of where I was supposed to be. Yeah, and that's connecting me to my other heart's desires.
That's amazing. That's such good insight, I think, for our fresh alumni, because that there is that moment where it's like, oh, there was a path for 4 years. We talk about this a lot in alumni affairs because everything is so like cyclical in our life up till that moment when it's like, hello, this is just the rest of your life.
This is the real world. Welcome to the real world.
Go. And you're like, okay. But that is, I think, amazing insight just to kind of pass on to give folks permission to sit in that for a little bit, because getting that mindset right is so key. You've had so many amazing opportunities. You mentioned Ceelo, but you've shared stages with incredible musicians, so many. Are there like one or two that stick out for you? And can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, definitely Ceelo, because that was my first major gig. We opened up for Lionel Richie. That was amazing. And I'm going to have to say the second would have to be Beyonce at the Super Bowl 50. I mean,
hard for that not to make the list, right?
Yeah. I mean, so those are the two that really stick out. Those are really important. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Bill and Ted movie, because that is fresh, that is happening, that is right now. How did that come about? Was it something you'd say you'd been working towards, like a feature role? You always had that in your sights? Tell us how that sort of came to be.
Yeah. So again, it's all about timing, right? So basically a New Orleans casting agency found me on Instagram. I know. I did the audition, I booked it, and I was literally on a plane the next day.
That's incredible.
It's insane. It was a surreal moment. It was like, okay, wow, this is really happening.
It was wild.
I couldn't believe it. It was just like, because I was on a gig actually when I received that DM, and I was like, is this real? Yeah, it's real. It's real. And I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. And, it was meant. It was meant to happen. I just feel like if we just believe in divine timing and trust the process and the journey, things will happen when it's supposed to. Because I think we get upset when things don't happen when we want it to, but we have to just say, okay, it's not meant to happen right now. Keep moving on, press forward. So
yeah,
it was time. It was time.
Zen to your mindset of like, I can only control so many things. And I think that's also such a good lesson. That's something I'm sort of trying to embody more and more, is like, I can only control the things that I can control. So what can I do to try and get me there? And what is out of my control? And what can I kind of let go of? Because we only have so much space. We only have so much resource.
Exactly. You have to let go of the things that you can't control. It makes life a little easier if you do that.
you've mentioned these different paths, but you've really empowered yourselves to take those. And I think that that's a little bit challenging sometimes for creatives. This role in Bill and Ted, but you also dance. I am a So You Think You Can Dance fan, so I totally recognized your audition video. I love that show. There's just so much joy, right? That energy we were talking about.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
But you lean into being more than one thing. And that's not always something that creatives feel like they can do. There's this rhetoric that we get sometimes where it's like, pick your one thing, be the best at that one thing, and everything else is just what it is. So I'd love to hear how you seem to embody that from the jump. And I feel like it's a process for a lot of folks. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that, because we get that advice, there's lots of advice that comes our way, and it's hard to tell what to take and grab on and like live and embody, and what is kind of like people trying to help and sharing their experience. So how did you sort of decide that was what you were going to have faith in?
I feel like your passions, they're connected to your heart. And I feel like your heart is the compass to your ultimate destiny. So if you follow those things that you love, you do those things that you love, you can't really go wrong with that. And I feel like a lot of times in society, we get caught up in, no, you should do this, and it should be in this time frame, and throw that all out. Do what you love. Focus on that. And that's what I've been doing. From a kid, I always loved dancing. I was always doing something with acting, and then drumming. I started that when I was 10. And, I had great supportive parents as well. And I believe I'm going to continue on listening to that heartbeat, because that's what I've been doing. My heartbeat is what I've been following. I've been listening to that heartbeat, and that's been connecting me to all of my heart's desires. And I am so grateful that I've been open enough to listen to that inner voice and to listen to that beat. That drum beat is within my heart, And this is why I'm here. I'm here right now because I listened to this. And that's how I've, been able to accomplish all the things that I've done so far.
Yeah, I feel that from you. I took a peek at your bio, and I just want to pull out this one line. You kind of spoke to it, but there's a line in your bio that says, not only does she march to the beat of her own drum, she designs those beats. And I had like a moment reading that of just like, yes, not just, marching to the beat of your own drum, but like being the drum and not even fitting into the context that's below.
Exactly.
It's so meaningful. And to me, that like really speaks to how your life and your career is your own. There are these boxes and these molds, but it's okay to not fit in those. And I really try to make sure that we're representing the uniqueness of all of our alumni in the things that we do. Because what's been amazing for me at this vantage point is to learn that. Like even for me getting this job, there's a moment of like, oh, I'm going to know the secrets of the industry now. I'm looking in the drawers, and there's no secrets in my drawers, Patty Ann. There's nothing. There's no secret book. There's nothing. So for me, just like hearing.
Yeah.
For those of us that are still in the process of allowing us to be the drum, can you give us a little bit of advice or anything that helped you along that way? Because I think so much of that is about like owning your own empowerment. And that's such a process, not just for creatives. I think for humans, that's a process, and that's a part of human development. So I always want to spend a little time on it. Can you speak to it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what I said, just like listening to your heart and going down that path. Also not trying to be anybody else but yourself. I think especially with social media, everybody's looking at that and, oh my God. And majority of the time, it's not real. People portray things that are not real on social media. And just, don't try and fit in this box of what people want you to be, just break out of that box and be you. Do the things that you love. Follow your heart, like I said. And, enjoy the journey. Take it step by step. Enjoy the journey day by day. Enjoy it. And know that whatever is meant to happen in your life is going to happen.
I love that. Just keep going. Just keep going. If it's what you want to be doing, then there should be joy in it. And I love that you mentioned that joy in the process, especially for creative stuff. It's so project-based that it's like, finish the project and you're done, and now you're right back to getting the next project. And if you aren't finding joy in that process, it can feel very like it's just cyclical. Is there any advice you wish you'd gotten earlier or like lessons you learn now that you wish you could go back and time travel. I did not do that on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. You could go back and tell your younger self, is there something you wish you could just hold little Patty by the shoulders and just say?
I feel like I did learn a lot when I was younger. I have two amazing parents that nourished me with so much wisdom. But I will say, time. Do not worry about time, because you're like, oh, I'm this age. Oh my God, I'm not where I want to be. It's like, listen, your timeline is already designed, right? Do what you're supposed to do. Again, enjoy the journey, and know that things are going to divinely happen when they're supposed to. That's it. You hear stories of people like, booking their first major role at 50. You know what I mean? You're like, wow, 50 years old. That's when it was supposed to happen. But the thing is, don't give up. Keep going, right?
Yeah. Make the life you won't regret. Make the choice.
So that was,
regret. Yeah.
And that was probably what I would tell my younger self. I think I did learn that though early on. I was like, okay, whatever is meant to happen is going to happen when it's supposed to. Okay, cool, got it.
Heard it. Loading. This is who I am. Yeah, right. I think that is one of the most valuable things, really, is that, like, if you own your choices, you will find that joy, right? I chose this, and I chose it for the reasons that I chose it, and so I'm happy in this moment, and I'm happy in this choice, and in the impact, and whatever happens after. I think it's such a good practice.
Especially when your intentions are pure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, speaking about this time and all this time we have to self-reflect, there is so much content in the world, but I have been listening to podcasts a lot, and I've listened to a couple that ask folks about their recommendations, and I think it's so interesting. I've learned about such like niche books and blogs and articles. So I would love to hear 2 things that you found meaningful and impactful that you'd love to share for other folks to know about, to read and learn from, because I will probably add them to my list right now.
Okay. Well, The Secret. The book The Secret by Rhonda Burns. Never heard of The Secret?
I've heard of it. I've never read it. I still haven't read it. I know.
Man.
You may shake me.
No, it's okay. Or watch the movie.
Oh, there's a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a movie.
Do that.
But whatever you have to, whatever.
My eyes right now, I just can't. But I didn't even know they made a movie about it. That's amazing. That's so great.
It's really cool. So the visuals are there, so you'll probably enjoy that more. I got that book. I read that book in 2010. Literally the new chapter when I moved to LA.
Circa 2010.
Right. And wow, it really opened my mind. Like, okay, the law of attraction. Okay, got it. I'm not going to say anything else. The law of attraction. Trust me, I have my vision boards, and a lot of those things have come to fruition. So I'll leave that there. Check that out. The second thing would be The One Thing by Gary Keller. The One Thing, which is crazy. I read the book after the fact, but remember when I said I had to focus on that one thing, and that led me down the path of everything else. That book is about that. It's so good. I think it would help a lot of creatives.
That's amazing.
So The One Thing.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to look that up right now. I'm so enjoying the time, as much as there's so much going on right now, and there's so much calling our attention in different ways. I am really enjoying the time to look inward and to really have these conversations with ourselves, and to hear it from other folks, because I think we're all sort of asking for resources in these moments, and it's been really cool to just like share. Well, that is just, that's so helpful. And I feel so strongly your vision and your communication of having faith in oneself and marching to what brings you joy and following that joy. So I thank you so much for sharing that with the community.
Absolutely. Feel those vibrations.
I love it. Community is everything right now, and I'm so grateful for this role and for this community. To be a part of it as an alum and to do this for a living is such a gift in this time to just be able to lean into these kind of
Absolutely.
conversations. So thank you for having it with us, and thank you for
Yeah.
sharing
Thank
your
you for having
perspective.
me. Yeah, I'm so happy to do that. Berklee.
Berklee!